this chapter, we are going to talk about the fundamental basics of cryptography. So in this lecture, we are going to talk about what is cryptography itself. So first of all, cryptography is the practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of third parties. So there are cases when we want to make sure that a given message is read by the reader and the receiver exclusively. This is exactly what we can achieve with the help of cryptography-related approaches. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the applications of cryptography. So why do we need cryptography at all? The most crucial application has something to do with wars. During a war, it is crucial to communicate securely. This is why cryptography was crucial during the Second World War. The Nazis used the so-called Enigma, that was a machine that can generate encrypted text. And of course, on the other hand, Alan Turing built a machine that could decrypt the encrypted messages essentially with brute force approach. We are going to talk about it later. Okay, so this is the first application. Of course, there are other applications. For example, when we want to transfer funds electronically or storing users' information in a database such as with Facebook or Twitter, or for example, you would like to send some money online or you want to pay with your credit card, you may imagine that under the hood, cryptography is used in order to make sure that the user's information are not going to be stolen. And finally, with the advent of blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on, cryptography is becoming more and more popular. Of course, all the transactions of Bitcoin or all the transactions of Ethereum are encrypted with elliptic curve cryptography in order to make sure that the blockchain is secure. Okay, so these are the fundamental applications of cryptography. Let's talk about the fundamental basics. First of all, what is a plaintext? Essentially, a plaintext is any readable data, including binary files. This plaintext is the input of cryptosystems, and of course, the plaintext can be utilized without the need of decryption algorithms or a key. On the other hand, what is a ciphertext? A ciphertext is the result of encryption performed on plaintext using an encryption algorithm. Of course, the ciphertext is not human readable. Essentially, this is why we use cryptography. We would like to transform a plaintext into ciphertext, and this is how we make sure that the ciphertext cannot be read by third parties. We can use an encryption algorithm in order to transform the plaintext into a ciphertext with the help of a private key, and we can use the same encryption algorithm in order to decrypt the ciphertext into plaintext again. But of course, it is absolutely crucial that ciphertext is not human readable, which means that it cannot be utilized directly. We need a decryption algorithm and usually a private key. Okay, so encryption is the process of encoding a given message in a way that only the authorized parties can access it. What about decryption? Decryption is the process of decoding a given message, so essentially this is the inverse operation of encryption. And finally, what is a private key? This is a sequence that is needed both for encryption and for decryption as well. Essentially, we can come to the conclusion that encryption is a function. So we can use an encryption function with two arguments. First of all, we need the plaintext and we need the private key. And as you can see, the plaintext combined with a private key can be transformed into the ciphertext with the help of the encryption function. So as you can see, the result of the encryption function is the ciphertext itself. On the other hand, the inverse operation is the decryption function. The input is the ciphertext, we need a private key, and the decryption function is going to transform the ciphertext into a plaintext. This is why the result of the decryption function is the plaintext. You may pose the question that what is an encryption function? This is exactly what we are going to talk about in the coming lectures. For example, the Caesar cipher. The Caesar cipher is an encryption function. function, the data encryption standard, the advanced encryption standard. These are encryption functions that can transform a plain text into a ciphertext with the help of a private key. And of course, the inverse operation is called decryption function. So these are the topics we are going to talk about in the next lectures. Thanks for watching.